So when we come here into this monastery, we come here for the purpose of to practice. We come here for the purpose of practicing the path that leads to the end of all dukkha. This is the fourth of the Noble Truth, the path that leads to the end of dukkha. And it's comprised of 3 columns. First is sila, that means morality or the 5 moral precepts. While we're in this monastery, we keep them. When we are out in the world, it is advised that we keep them as well. Because it's a protection that keeps us from going down from the realm of the human state down to the lower realms. If we do not keep the 5 precepts, we can be sure that we go or spindle down to the ghost realms, to the animal realms, to the demon realms, or to the hell realms. The Lord Buddha gave this to the lay people as their protection. So please remember this. It's our protection. It's not that He commanded us to keep them, but He gave it for our protection. Because He didn't want us to go down to the lower realms. So, keep this in mind, and especially while you're here, you are expected to keep the 5 precepts. Not harming any living being, not taking what is not given, not using false speech or harsh speech or untruthful speech, not indulging into sexual misconduct, and not to drink alcohol or take drugs. These are, in short, the 5 precepts. This is one of the columns of the path that leads to the end of suffering. The other column is samatha or samadhi, mindfulness, and the ability to concentrate. The third column is the column of developing wisdom. Before we can start with wisdom, we need to be able to concentrate on one object. We need to be able to put the mind to rest. Like when we do work, we need to be able to put the body to rest. Otherwise, our work becomes fruitless. We need the ability to concentrate. We need the ability to enter samadhi. Like a person in the kitchen who does the kitchen work needs sharp knives, so he needs a knife sharpener. With a blunt knife, he cannot do any kind of work. And the ability to concentrate, the ability to develop, or the skill to develop mindfulness is just the thing that we need to sharpen our mindfulness, to sharpen our mind, to be able to cut the things, to cut the 10 fetters that binds us to this realm of rebirth. That's why it's so important. People normally in the West forget about everything about samatha. They forget everything about samadhi because they think it's a waste of time. If it would be a waste of time, why would the Lord Buddha so kindly taught it to us? Samadhi is important. Samadhi is not an option. It is one part of the Eightfold Path. It's one part or one column of the path that leads us to the end of dukkha. So we should not neglect it. It's the easiest thing to train. And so we should train it. We should center our mind on one object. Just one object. Being the object of the mental repetition of the word Buddha, or being it the breath at the tip of the nose and nowhere else. At the tip of the nose and observing the breath coming in and the breath going out. And once we observe the breath going in and the breath going out, we know about the quality of the breath that comes in and the breath that comes out. So we know about the quality if the breath is short or if the breath is long, if the in-breath is shorter or the out-breath is longer, or the breath is deep or the breath is shallow. This is the knowing faculty of our observance. The one who observes the breath knows about the quality of the breath. So we have to develop this faculty. And it's the same thing with the mental repetition of the word Buddha. The one who observes the mental repetition and the one who says are two different things. So we observe the mental repetition of the word Buddha and know if the Buddha is fast or the Buddha is slow, if the Buddha is deep or the Buddha is shallow, or how the quality of the Buddha is. I hope you get the point. The one who observes is the knowing quality of the citta. And the observed object is just the observed object. So if you ever want to get into one-pointedness, we have to get these two things together. Whatever we observe in the world, there's the object observed and the observer that observes the object, or the observer that knows about this object. When we see something, then there's something that sees, and there's something that is to be seen. When we hear something, that there is somebody who hears, and something that is to be heard. So get this clear. It is very important that we get this clear. That there are two different things. And that's why it's called, all this conventional realm of reality is called duality. Dual because there is an object observed and there is one who knows about the object observed. That's why it's duality. There is I and you, there is me and other things. This is the realm of duality. And all the realms, being it the animal realm, being it the human realm that we can see, being it our world, are all part of the duality. So, in order to eliminate this duality, we concentrate on either the word Buddha or on the breath until the breath disappears or until the word Buddha is so fixed that we cannot even think it anymore. Then, at that point, we drop or we revert to that thing or that phenomena that knows about that the breath has stopped, or that knows about that we cannot even think anymore this word Buddha, and then we enter one-pointedness. One-pointedness, what happens normally is that first of all the body disappears. The body disappears from our sense awareness. The second thing is not only that the body disappears, but the whole world of phenomena disappears as well. So there's nothing else left than singularity, there's nothing else left than knowingness. This knowingness of the mind is of such importance that Thanachal Mahaprabhu calls this the wonder of meditation or the nibbana of the little man. This is the nibbana if anybody of us tries and puts his effort into it. Tries and puts all his effort and determination into this kind of work, not letting go of the word Buddha or not letting go of the breath, not letting the citta go out and perceive all these other phenomena, that's how we enter samadhi. And that is the preview of nibbana. Once we enter singularity or one-pointedness or however you call it, all what is left is the knowing nature of the mind. All what is left is the knowing nature of the citta. And this is its true nature. So please remember this. Please keep this in your heart. This is the true nature of our citta. We have never ever experienced the true nature of our citta. So this is the path that leads to the true nature of our citta. Let's do some effort. Let's get some determination to be able to go down there in singularity and have a little preview of nibbana. What nibbana really is like. So I put this to your heart. So remember this well. If you ever want to know what Nibbana is, if you're sick of speculating what Nibbana is, then get down there in singularity. Get down there in one-pointedness. This one-pointedness of mind is also called the Appana Samadhi, or the deep state of Samadhi. Upachara Samadhi or access Samadhi is a Samadhi that comes before. It's a stage where thinking ceases and we experience the world of phenomena. That is already in itself very peaceful. And it can be very happy, and it is like going to another realm of existence. We go above our world of thinking, we go above our world of imagination and experience a world of phenomena. And the mind is peaceful, and the mind is happy in this state. Once we get back out, the mind becomes restless again, and we have the same turmoil as we have done before. And it's the same thing for the deep state of Samadhi. Once we get out, we know that we have been in a very, very, very special place. And we will never ever forget this experience. And this we can do, and this is not easy, and it's not beyond our abilities to do it. So let's put some effort and let's put some determination in this ability. It has as a side effect, it sharpens our mind. The moment we come out, either of Upachara or of Appana Samadhi, our mind is vigorous and sharp. It is like a sharp knife that can cut very easily the things that are in its way. It can cut down the fetters, it can cut down the hindrances, anything. It comes into its focus, or anything that comes in its way, it can cut down. The sharpness, of course, does not last very long. The longer we've been there, the longer it lasts. The longer we recharged our battery, of course, the longer our battery will last. The longer the knife will be sharp. So, this is why we train Samadhi. That is the pure or sole reason. There's another reason that gives us some hope and some determination and some vigorous and some clue that there is something beyond the world that we experience from day to day. Upachara or Appana Samadhi gives us this information that there is something. That there is something that is more joyous or more happy or more peaceful than the things that we can experience within this world. If it wouldn't be the case that there would be something more peaceful, something more happy, something more joyful, nobody ever would go this way. We would still live all in this world. But because we can experience this gives us a sort of push. This gives us a sort of vigorousness and determination to go on the path. These are the two reasons why we train our mind to get down into Samadhi. So do it well and you will end up there. Everyone who sets his mind on it will be able to do it. Of course it will take some time. Depending on our karma, depending on our background, it will take some time. So it cannot be said how long it will take. Some people reach a state of Upachara Samadhi within 7 or 8 days. And some people, within 2 years, because their determination or they're half-hearted, they still haven't found it. So you understand, we have to be full-hearted. We have to be completely with our subject and not interested about anything else. And this is a very good time, that is an opportunity that we can take while we are here in this monastery to let the world just run the way it runs. Anyway, we cannot change anything anyway. So take the opportunity while you are here. Take this opportunity, take this precious opportunity to settle your mind completely down, to experience the first wonder of the practice. And this is the first wonder of the practice, is going down in the deep state of samadhi, into the state of appana samadhi, where duality completely ceases to exist. And when duality completely ceases to exist, all the worries, all the unhappiness, all the sadness within our hearts also completely cease to exist. Singularity is just singularity. One-pointedness is just one point. There cannot be 2 points. There's just, all what is left is just the knowingness of the heart, or the knowingness of the citta, and that is its true value, or that it's its true nature. So, once we get out, we have this spoiled nature of the citta. The citta that always runs around, wants to know this, wants to know that. But in the state of appana samadhi, or even in the state of upachara samadhi, it doesn't want to know, it doesn't want to run out. It just feels, it's just complacent with the things as they are. So that is why it's so important for us to train. Now once we trained ourselves to get there often or get there daily, then we can start the investigation. The investigation or the development of wisdom is there to cut down the 10 fetters. The 10 fetters that bind us to the realm of rebirth. The first fetter is the fetter of doubt. Doubt that there exists heaven, doubt that there exists hell. Doubt that there exist karma and the results of karma, and good karma and bad karma. And doubt that there exists nibbana. Doubt that we are or that we are not, and so on and so on. This is the first fetter. To eliminate this fetter, or to overcome this fetter, we just say, okay, we don't know if there heaven exists, but it is most likely, people tell us, it's most likely that heaven exists. From all our religions, even the Christian religion, we know about heaven and we know about hell. Why should they tell us something that is not true? The Lord Buddha taught about the hell and taught about the heaven, and he taught about the 36 realms of existence. The human realm, the animal realm, the ghost realm, and all the 30 upper heavenly realms. They exist. And whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we speak, right now at the moment, will have results in the future. This is karma, this is the law of karma, and this, we can check it out for ourselves. We do not need to believe it. We do not need to believe anything at all, but we need to trust that they are. Because if we want to know for ourselves if they really exist, if karma exists, or if hell exists, or if heaven exists, we can go there. We can check it out for ourselves if they exist. But as long as we cannot check it out, we should trust that this is just the way as the Lord Buddha so kindly taught us. This is the first fetter. The second fetter considers the fiddling with the rules. That means the fiddling with the 5 precepts. One day I keep them, the next day I do not keep them, and the day after that I keep them again. If we want to keep them, if we want to undermine this fetter, that is the second fetter, then we just from the moment on, we keep them wholeheartedly and never ever let go of them. So this is the second fetter. The third fetter is a more difficult fetter, is the fetter that we believe that the body and I are one and the same thing. This is like the similar that you assume that the car and the driver are one and the same thing. Whenever you see the car and the driver as one and the same thing, then you are in problems. But if you see that the driver can get out of the car and get into the car, then these are two different things. That the driver is actually responsible for driving the car, and the car just has the functions of going up and going down, going left and right, and so on and so on. And this is the same thing with the body. The chitta and the body are two different things. The chitta is the one that commands this body. When the chitta goes out in a different realm, then the body just lies there. And nothing fudges. The heart still beats and the lungs still work. That's all. But the body doesn't move at all. When people sit in samadhi for 7 days, that's what happens. The body still breathes, but the body does not move at all. So, when the chitta goes out, then we know that the chitta and the body are two different things. And who is responsible for this body? The chitta is responsible. The chitta is responsible for commanding this body. If we understand this, if we truly understand this, and when I say understanding, that is an understanding that takes place in the heart and not in the mind. Of course, we can assume that these are two different things, but this does not help us. This does not eliminate the third fetter. This does not undermine the third fetter. We have to see with our own inner eyes that this is so. You understand that? We have to see it with our own inner eyes, that the body and the chitta are two different things. And a practical example that the Lord Buddha gave us at this time was the example of a wagon. Once you put the wagon down into its bits and pieces, where is the wagon? You just have nuts and bolts and planks. But where is the wagon? The wagon disappeared. And the same thing happens when we do this with the body. Once we put out the parts of the body in front of us, where is the body? They are just parts of the body. And who is the one who knows about? So there must be two different things. If we do this exercise correctly, if we put out our leg, or however coarse or however detailed you want to do it, in front of you while you're sitting closed eyes, you put the things of the body in front of you in a heap. And you see them like lying out there. Then you see the heap of the body, and there's still something that sits there. The moment you put all the parts of the body in front of you, and there's no part of the body left where you're sitting, then that moment the identification of I and the body is one and the same thing, crashes for a certain time. Just for a moment, and this is the first understanding. So we have to understand, while doing these examples over and over and over again, until the heart really understands that the body and the chitta are two different things. Now, once we have all these three fetters undermined, then there will be the time when we just rest in samadhi, or when we just have our mindfulness completely, that these fetters will cut, that these fetters will break. And once these three fetters break, then we will enter the state of Sotapanna. Sotapanna means somebody who entered the stream. Somebody who will never... No. Somebody who, if he doesn't do anything, he will reach Nibbana within 7 lives. Somebody who will never fall back down into the hell realm, or he will never fall back down into the lower realms. The lowest realm that he can be born into is the human state. This is the stream enterer. So, you know the fetters that we have to cut. The fetters of doubt, not fiddling with the precepts, just taking them and wholeheartedly taking them and starting of undermining the identification with this body. And this is an example This is one of the examples how you can undermine the identification with the body. There are many different ways. I just pick it out because the Lord Buddha gave this great similar of the wagon. Once you pull the wagon down into bits and pieces, where is the wagon? There is no wagon. There's just a plank, there's nuts, and there are bolts, and there are nails, and that's it. The wagon doesn't exist. The wagon only exists when we put it back into the place, when we put it back into its place. All the bits and pieces back into its place, and then the wagon comes back again. And that is the same thing what happens when we put our body back to one function, to one body. The bits and pieces of the body to assemble a body again. Then the body appears again. Otherwise, if it's not assembled, it's just bits and pieces of the body. And you can do it coarse, just leg and foot and upper torso and lower torso and head and arms. Or you can do it very detailed, going into very detailed, into bones and things like that, in skin and vessels and so on and so on. It's up to you how you do it. So you understand this clearly. This is required for entering of the stream. To undermine these three fetters, inasmuch as they are just a little thin thread. Once they are just a thin thread, then any kind of deep state of samadhi or any kind of full concentration can cut these fetters along. Or any kind of insight that arises can cut these fetters in one go. And then we reach the entry of stream. And then, for the first time, we are in a safe place. From there on, we are safe. We have started the way out of this roller coaster. The roller coaster of rebirth. Going up and going down. Going up to the heaven and falling down into hell. Going up to heaven and falling down into hell. And staying in the other realms for a certain amount of time. This is the roller coaster of life. Or it's a endless cycle of rebirth. You also call it that. But roller coaster of life is a little bit more picturesque. Because it shows us very clearly, the way up is very difficult and the way down is very fast. And the amazing thing is when we sit actually in a roller coaster, when it goes down, we are completely amused and we are completely excited. And for the most of the people, it holds true also in their daily life. They think only about the exciting stuff, and that's how they go down. They think they want this, or they want to try this, or want to try that, and do not regard the 5 precepts, and that's how they run down, or they roll down, or they speed down, or whatever you want to call it. And most of us speed down. How many? The Bhikkhu Ananda asked the Lord Buddha, how many people are going to heaven and how many people are going to hell? And the Lord Buddha gave the simile. He told Ananda, do you see that bull over there? Tell me, how many hairs does he have on his body or on his skin, and how many horns does he have? And the horns are standing for the 2 people who go either to heaven or go to Nibbana. And the hairs on the skin are standing for these people who will go down to hell. So think about it very carefully. Which one are you? It's up to you. You make your choice. It's a very drastic example, but as much as I know, the Lord Buddha never overemphasized anything. If he teaches like this, this is the way it is. So, for yourself, think about it, what you are. Are you the horns of the bull, or are you just the hairs on the skin or on the fur? What are you? Every moment we have the decision to go in the right direction, and every moment we have the decision to go in the wrong direction. So every time, make your right decision. Make the decision to go in the right way, and once you train yourself always to go in the right way, it will become a habit. That are the first three fetters that I was talking about that lead us to the entry of stream. The next two fetters, or the next two lower fetters, are the fetters of greed and hate. The fetters of greed and hate root in this body. So we are not finished with the work of the body yet. So we have to examine the body inside, outside. We have to dissect it. We have to go in, understand the nature of the body. Understand the outside nature, that is the five objects, that is the hair of the head, the hair of the body, the nails, the teeth, and the skin. We can examine this. What happens if we don't wash our hair? Where is the dirt coming from? Is the dirt coming from outside, or is the dirt coming from inside? What happens when we don't wash our skin? Where is the dirt coming from? Is it coming from outside, or is it coming from inside? So, and so on. With the nails and the teeth and so on. We can also picture this body. Whatever comes into contact with the body, we have to wash. After 2 or 3 days, the clothes that we wear, we cannot even smell them. So where is the smell coming from? Is the smell coming from the outside, or is the smell coming from our body? When we just hang our clothes in the air, they don't smell. So the smell certainly comes out from this body. So think about what you do all day long. You just care about this body, you feed it, you house it, you put it to rest, you make it more beautiful, and so on and so on. Or you make it more fit, you train it. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Have you ever seen that whatever comes into contact with this body becomes filthy and becomes stained? Be it the food that comes, it's nice tasting food of hundreds of different colors and hundreds of different tastes that go out, that come into our mouth. Once it goes down at the end to our throat, the feeling of taste disappears, and then it stays in our stomach. If we just poke it up, there's nobody who wants to eat this food again. Even if it's still nutritious, even if it still has all its value. So what does the body do with all these things? Whatever comes into contact, whatever goes into the body, it becomes filthy and stained. We don't even want to look at the things that come out from our eating. We don't want to look at the shit. It has one color and one taste. And what goes in is a lot of different tastes and a lot of different colors. Have you ever reflected about that? In the world, a factory like that wouldn't survive. If we build up a factory and put everything nice into it, and out comes out of this, or the products of this factory are just garbage. Who wants to buy this thing? So why are we putting up with this body? Why is it that we are putting up with this body? Why is it that we are putting so much work and so much effort? 95 or even 99% of our effort we put into this maintaining of this body. And we know at the end of our lifetime we have to give up this body. So all our energy, all our resources that we put into this body are wasted energy, are wasted resources. Because in the end we have to give up this body. In the end it will die no matter. We cannot make it stay. We cannot make it live forever. It has to go. There is no way that it can stay. Everything in this universe has to go, has to cease, comes into existence and has to cease and has to die. So why are we putting so much effort in this body? Why do we care so much about this body? We have to maintain it. And if you stay here for a while at this monastery, you know how little time it takes to maintain the body. You feed it in the morning one time and you wash it in the evening. And you put it to sleep for a few hours. That's all what is necessary to maintain this body. And it still works, and it probably works even finer than most of the people outside in the world who eat 3 or 5 times a day and do not do any exercises. So, remember this one. Now, why do we take up with this kind of factory that diverts or that converts everything into shit? Why do we put it up? Because it produces the 6 senses. The senses of seeing, the senses of smelling, of tasting, of hearing, of touching and of thinking. That's why we put up. The Lord Buddha gave once a very short sermon. One who gets rid of the 6 senses, or one who is not interested anymore in the 6 senses, will attain Nibbana. That is one of the short sermons. So the 6 senses are rooted in this body. And that's why we have to investigate this body. And when I was talking about the 2 fetters of greed and hate, they are rooted in this body. That's why we have to understand this body very well. That's why we have to dissect it into its bits and pieces, to understand its true nature, to dissect it and to pull it down to the 4 elements or whatever. That is the work. And that is the work, how to undermine greed and hate. There is no other work. Sorry to say that. There is no other work than the understanding of Asubha, the ugliness of this body. There is no other work than the understanding of the true nature of the body that gets rid of greed and hate. No other way. Just to understand the true nature of the body, where all the senses are rooted, will give us the opportunity to get rid of greed and hate. Once greed and hate are gone, then we enter the stage of anagami. Once we have cut the fetters of greed and hate, we are attaining to the stage of anagami. The stage of anagami is a very nice stage, because it is the stage, as we translate it in English, as a non-returner, somebody who never ever comes back into this world of existence. That doesn't mean he is in Nibbana, because that is only the Arahant. What happens to him if he dies before he enters Nibbana, before he becomes a full-fledged Arahant, is that he will end up in the 5 highest heavens that are just exclusively reserved for the anagami. And he is the first person who just never develops downwards, he always develops upwards. That means the most time, if he doesn't do anything anymore, if he doesn't put any more effort in his practice, then he just will fall up into Nibbana within 50,000 years, where each of the realms of the highest heavens have a span of 10,000 years. And after this time, he will enter Nibbana. So he can be sure that he will never ever come back, neither in the normal heavenly realm, or in the human realm, or any kind of other realm. He is nearly finished. Yet he has only done 50% of his work, because he has to cut down the 5 higher fetters. That is the fetter of attachment to, what is it? Bodily forms or non-bodily forms. The attachment to ditthi, that one is oneself. The attachment to restlessness and avijja. Did I forget one? I hope I didn't forget one. So, this is the work, this is the sole work of the anagami, And in order to cut down these 5 higher fetters, he has to investigate the 4 nama khandhas, the 4 groups that are mind groups, and that is the group of mind, Vedana, that takes place in the mind, or memory and association, thoughts and consciousness. That are the groups that he has to investigate. So, for us as practitioners, our only sole object of investigation is the investigation of the body, until we attain to the state of anagami. And then the subject of investigation will change to the 4 higher groups, to the 4 nama khandhas. Once we are finished with this work, we will be a full-fledged arhat. Once the 5 higher fetters are broken and avijja has disappeared, then we are completed. We have done our work, and there is no more work to be done. And there is no more question to be asked. Because we all know. The people who know, who attain to the state of enlightenment, to the state of arahantship, they don't have to ask what is what and what is how and why is what. And now that I reach the highest state, at least within my talks, I wish that you put your effort and determination to reach the state of enlightenment within this very life. And with this, I end my talk. So, if there are any questions, then you are happy to ask. And you as well, yeah? You already made the first step, don't forget. Don't forget that you made the first step to ordain as a bhikkhu, and that our life is devoted to overcome dukkha. And everything else, every kind else. And the work to eliminate the work, to eliminate dukkha is what is the work? Is to walk chomkrom, or to do walking meditation and sitting meditation. This is the only work. There's no other work that can lead us to the deliverance. There's no other work that delivers us to freedom. Just the work of samatha or vipassana. Sitting meditation, walking meditation, or standing meditation, or lying meditation. Any kind of other work. And that's why in this monastery, this other kind of work is reduced to the absolute minimum. We eat once a day, we sweep the kuti at 3 o'clock, and we wash our body afterwards. That is the only work that we have to do. And everything else is devoted to the work of sitting in samadhi, or sitting in investigation, or walking, doing walking meditation, either with the aim of calm or with the aim of investigation. That is the work, that is the true work of the samana, it's the true work of the recluse. So you know what to do? Then go and start.